jumping out of the water.
All right, so we're here at Hanakaha Harbor, and there's spinner dolphins. You see them jumping out there, Mom? They love the wake of the boat. There's just a lot of them. And I'm going to put this phone right here. I'm going to share some information here with my viewers in the world. Do you mind just rolling that window up a little bit? It's going to be a little bit hot, but I want it to be really quiet. And this is kind of a, it's not private, obviously. This is going to go to the world. But we're here in Kona, Hawaii, at a harbor called Hanakaha. It's also known as Gentry's Marina. A lot of boats come in and out of here. January 18, a vessel that we were in the process of acquiring. The transaction had not even gone through fully, but we were ordered out of a slip at a harbor, a marina, which was called Kauai. The vessel had a long history of successful voyaging around 7 years in the Pacific Ocean, all through New Zealand and all over the place. It had a fairly decent 165 horse John Deere engine, and it was actually featured in a modern boat building book. Plus it was in a lot of boat magazines. It was 48-foot beautiful vessel, power sailor schooner, and it was amazing. It was absolutely, there was so many things about that vessel that made it an amazing vessel. But I fell into what I believe was, now after I've made record and I've gotten all the different exhibits and interviewed and investigated and did what I call a discovery process, I am convinced that I was set up, that it was a trap. Well, I'm leaving it up to, this is what I want to put on record, and my mother has flown over here, and we're talking and having meeting with attorneys and discussing a solution. So I wanted to make a video, Mama, and it's up to, if someone sees this or not, it's totally up to them. I mean, I'm not going to go try to promote it or anything like that, but if the right people happen to see this video, I'm going to leave this up for a short time, and then I'm going to take it down. I've sent out a 10-day notice to the previous owner and his wife. That 10 days is going to be up soon. I'm basically telling them in that 10-day notice, listen guys very carefully, if you're interested in any solution for this case, this is what you want to listen to. I'm not unreasonable, and I'm definitely not unfair. 3 people that I've met have the families, or the survivors. I've met the survivors, but they were on a vessel where, well, one man died. He was the only one on it, but another lady, a young boy, died with the YWAM ships projects, and another man had the same thing happen, and he committed suicide right out here in front of Kona. So, you know, when you come in to this harbor and are told that you cannot come in, and you are sinking, and you need to claim safe harbor, and they cuss or they threaten you, it's very intimidating. So listen up. I was here on 18 January. The boat sunk. We were not allowed to come in. This is what I'd like to do. We had put some money into this vessel, and the right people that watch this know how much that is. I was willing to walk away from all of that, Mother. I was willing to walk away from all of it if I just had answers, an apology, some sort of an answer. Why did this happen? Okay, and I didn't want to leave the island with open-ended liabilities. You know, when you're involved in something that catastrophic that almost cost you your life, you don't want to leave. I'm going to be leaving to another country for years. I don't want to get find that I'm involved in some sort of a lawsuit or case that I have to come back to, and then I don't come back, and so I end up losing because of default. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They could have me served in the Philippines, for example, and I'd have to fly over here, which I would do, but it would be very costly. So I want it resolved. I want the door closed. I want it resolved, and that's what I told them. They completely ignored me. Everybody ignored me. So I thought, well, then I'll just go ahead and investigate it. So right now, this 10-day thing, I'd walk away with half of the money I spent. Let's just share that, you know? You got 4 or 5 other people that could split that up, half of it, and then we'll just split it right down the middle. Okay? And then make sure that I'm not liable, that things are resolved, that it's settled, and it's a done deal. Okay? That's what I would like to do at this point. I mean, I don't want that, but I'm willing, because I think there needs to be some accountability, effort of holding people accountable for this. So that's not a lot of money. Very small amount, very, very small amount of money. But the most important thing is a document that provides me with, I don't even want to say, but not immunity is a word that could be used, but basically that I'm not going to be involved in some sort of a scandal or some sort of a lawsuit, because I really believe, Mom, that there was an effort by a number of individuals to cover up and conceal things. First of all, it was leaking water, but they didn't tell me that, you know, when I came. Do you think that would be an important thing to say, if there's a boat transaction and the boat owner knows that it's been leaking water for a year? Boats aren't supposed to leak, and then I get here and find that it's leaking. Okay? I should have known that. Anyway, so I'm here with my mother. We're working on this. This is the last thing. If that's not resolved that way, if it's not resolved within these 10 days, this is what my effort is. I'm going to file a lawsuit against the state of Hawaii. It's going to be a very large lawsuit in the millions. Okay, I've been told by the media, several newspapers, that if I do that, they will immediately publish stories, and I've already written the stories, and they've had other writers. We've worked on some really good articles that's going to blow you know, some things out of the water here and expose a lot of corruption that's going on in the harbors with regards to everything from the parasail people secretly giving money to government workers to other. There's a lot of that. We are going to do what we can to get the media involved, and they said they would get involved if I filed a lawsuit against the state. I plan on doing that. Will it go through? You know, I'm gonna do my very best. We've got some really good attorneys, don't we?
Yes.
And this new attorney that we met with is awesome. So we're gonna pursue that. Now, I probably will drop the lawsuit on the state as long as the news covers it and the state does their job. If I see a correction that they are making, some adjustments to the way they do things, for example, if they go after the previous owner, the broker, the surveyor, if they go after, that's their job. They're supposed to hold these people accountable and manage and govern them, you know, show some oversight. But the state and even the Coast Guard here, now the Coast Guard that rescued us was great, but the local people here, when I went in to get a report, they said, oh, we're not going to do a report. I found out those guys were friends with the state official, because they're all in the same building. They all know each other and they're all communicating. So I'm not going to take any legal action against Coast Guard, but it's interesting how the local Coast Guard refused to even make a report of the sinking. Is that kind of strange?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be some lawsuits filed, and it's going to be interesting because I'm having to file different lawsuits against different individuals that were involved, not just one class action type suit, but also the suits that we're filing against a couple of the individuals. I'm filing from California, so I need to get back over there, and you're going to fly out tonight. You can start working on that, and we're going to file those. You can file $7,500 per person in California in small claims, and they can't have an attorney. They have to show up and go before the judge, and they have to share their case. Well, I want to say this in closing. I have worked very hard, Mom, for 6 months to put together a case with affidavits and exhibits showing absolutely without a shadow of a doubt that there was fraud. Not only one time, not only two, but many, many times there was fraud involved in the transaction of this boat. Cover up, fraud in the survey. You know, there was so much fraud in the survey. When I got the letter from the surveyor, it was a letter. He was trying to cover his tracks. You know, they're going out to see the dolphins. He was trying to cover his tracks. I should swim out there. You know, I could swim out there and play with them. When the surveyor wrote me this letter to cover his tracks, the previous owner of the boat, when I showed him the letter, rather than helping like he said he was going to do, oh, I'm going to help you with this, and we're going to, you know, sue these people. What he did was he grabbed that letter from me and he wouldn't give it back. He refused, even though it was to me and written to me. He grabbed it and he wouldn't give it back to me.
Did you take a picture of that?
Oh yeah, I read the whole thing right here in the car on video. Plus I have copies and stuff. So, but just the fact that he took the original shows evidence that he was trying to conceal evidence. Then he demanded, screaming, loud voice, threatening his wife, and had her get on their computer, and he threatened me. And I said, well, you know, Jesus, if he were here, and he is, I said, if he doesn't want you to hurt me, you could put a gun to my chest and pull the trigger, and Jesus could stop you. And he said, Jesus can't stop me, and he got really angry. So he wanted me to sign an affidavit. He called it a deposition, I think. Yeah, deposition. He wrote out this paper, and he had me go down to the bank, and I signed it, and it was all true, but he purposely left out information. The information that was there was true. Like, he said, well, I tested the sails in the engine, and it was successful. Well, sure it was. The sails in the engine were successful, except the boat started sinking. That wasn't successful. He said, well, leave that out. Leave that out. We're not going to put that in there. So, you know, he was trying to cover himself, and just the fact that you try to cover yourself with these things is evidence. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It's evidence that you're involved in fraud. One of the last things he said was, I'm the one that lost. I said, well, I lost this much money. You know, I put a bunch of money. He says, I lost everything. I lost $127,500, and I'm going to get it back, and I'm going to sue Gentry's. Well, whether he does or not, I told him, communicate with me. Have your attorney communicate with me. I wrote him some nice letters, and then he called me and he said, oh, you don't have any case. We don't have a case. There's no case, and no one will believe that you were in danger. Trust me. They will believe it. Guaranteed.
Something's biting me.
Yeah, I know. I have that same thing. There's some...
like an animal in here.
Yeah, but you can't see them. They're really small.
Huh.
All right, so guys, that's it. That's a report of what's happening here. This is a beautiful harbor.